Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back another video from SethTheProgrammer. I've been saving this one. We have got Madara versus Sukuna. Now, before I go into this, I recently reacted to Gojo versus the Akatsuki, and when I do these versus videos, when I do all these stuff, I do it for fun. I'm not going in with a complete legitimate thing. I know I went real like, what the hell about speed and stuff, but like, I'm just trying to do an uneducated, over the top kind of reaction to a versus battle. I'm not the power scaler, I'm the one reacting to it. And it's fine, it's fair, I get it. A lot of you take this dead seriously because it can be a serious thing. Me, on the other hand, I really enjoyed reacting to that Gojo Akatsuki video the way I did. I get when you actually think about it really seriously that Gojo's limitless and everything does kind of negate like attacks and stuff, so it doesn't technically matter how fast someone is. But still, I was enjoying the whole just. I'd had a few beers. And I was like, let's just keep rolling with the whole because Naruto first is faster than the. But anyway, so please don't take everything I do completely serious. Like, I am an idiot. I don't know anything, but I enjoy doing these videos, and they're meant to be for entertainment. I am not analyzing these videos and breaking them down in a kind of like professional, kind of like this guy's wrong kind of thing. If I say they're wrong, it's just a mad loose personal thing that I'm not trying to, you know. But anyway, Madara versus Sukuna. I think Madara wins this because he's faster. Like, Madara is so much faster because, yeah, and Sukuna doesn't have Limitless and Ha. So, yeah, let's just check out my Patreon page. Let's go.
Long ago, the head shinobi from every one of the top 5 villages teamed together against the strongest enemy to shinobi kind in history at that time, Madara Uchiha. They were the 4th Raikage A, 3rd Tsuchikage Inoki, 5th Mizukage Mei, 4th Kazekage Gar,
and damn, these guys are fast.
and the 5th Hokage Tsunade Senju. All of them were strong enough to face down against the strongest shinobi in the world.
I mean, not really, but okay.
Whether they were the highly acclaimed Akatsuki,
I mean, they didn't really do that much of a good job, did they? But okay.
Or even the world-ending, demonic, and pure abominations of chakra known as the Bijou. In this hypothetical, let's take the 5 shadows of Naruto and pit them up against a different antagonistic force of nature, the strongest sorcerer in all of history from Jujutsu Kaisen, Sukuna. As I said before,
because we haven't even seen, we have not seen how strong Sukuna really actually is either, though, to be fair, have we? Like, he's not got all his fingers, he's not in his complete form. Which is something to say about him fighting Gojo. But anyway,
these 5 shadows tend to scale.
He beat Gojo. Spoilers!
Towards the top of the elite ninja in the world, before things started to get wonky during the 4th Great Ninja War's climax. The Raikage with his version 2 lightning cloak can reach the speed of light with his lariat, potentially even while suppressed, going by the Naruto databooks, and can straight up brawl with an 8-tailed beast back in the day while he was much younger. Even Karing during the 5 Kage summit notes that he has chakra rivaling a Bijou, and the only Bijou she's seen is Killer Bee transformed into the 8 tails. There is some contention with this light speed, as there is a moment where Tsunade and the Raikage are transferred to the battlefield basically across the continent with a light speed transfer jutsu. And when you see them,
he says it's called Heavenly Transfer. Oh, but the data book. Okay, never mind.
Tsunade has cuts, and it is stated really only the Raikage could survive being transferred like that. However, this doesn't mean they actually don't fight at light speed, because it's different when someone bursts light speed, say maybe even like 8 meters or something, compared to being thrown at light speed across the continent. It's a way different factor.
I suppose, yeah, if someone launches you, that's out of your control. If you are the one that's doing it, then you understand the situation. You're able to deal with it better.
It's also different when you consider stamina. Can someone go at light speed for 8 miles, or can they go at light speed for a couple feet at a time?
Okay, yeah.
This is a similar argument that was used for Goku, where he was crossing Snake Way, and the calculation for his speed would be much less than what we see when it comes to the obvious light speed or above lightning level attacks, such as these characters blowing up the moon in a matter of seconds. It was just a obviously way different fact when it comes to their actual amount of distance they can travel at those top speeds. This 8-tailed beast that Karin sensed could help the 9-tails later create an explosion so massive that you could see the curvature of the earth around it that some would calculate would level continents.
Wow, okay.
With Bijou even on accident being able to vaporize mountains out of existence and threaten the stability of the globe. They all eventually even coalesce into a world-ending enigma known as the 10-tails, which can also threaten the entire world, is a piece of Kaguya, the end boss who can end time-spaces. It's safe to say that these things are pretty powerful. The 8-tails and 9-tails also briefly battle said 10-tails, which gave Obito Uchiha, the leader of the Akatsuki at the time, so much chakra he could make a tree that eclipsed the heavens faster than lightning, which some would tell you would require so much energy to actually do that, you could argue it would take more than to destroy an actual moon.
Yo, that's some destruction.
Even the 10-tails just yelling would rip continents apart, and while the 8-tails is by no means its equal, it's a pretty significant portion of its energy. This becomes very consistent as later we see Madara launch a multi-meteor combination jutsu called the Tengai Shinsei, where he rips materials from outer space, which could possibly extend all the way to the asteroid belt at light speeds, and sends a meteor that almost eclipses the horizon to those looking from underneath, and then launches it at you. This attack is something Inoki uses all his powers and efforts with a jutsu that turns objects light, catches, and then eventually stops, with
And then a second one.
the little help from Gaara's sand. This attack and the way it is launched would also require energy to level continents easily, and many calculations would agree with this. Of course, Inoki wouldn't scale to this attack fully, as even Madara was going to get squished into paper by it, and Inoki just turns the meteor light rather than, say, contesting its full energy output, per se, but it goes to show...
Very valid point, yeah, because Madara's like, it doesn't matter if I get crushed, I'm coming back, I've got Edo Tensei, so yeah, let's just slam this bad boy down.
That he can still handle something like that with his jutsu and tactics. He also possesses a jutsu called Particle Style, which can be further amped to a massive size that is almost rivaling that meteor in size, that turns everything into particles, atomizing everything inside of it. Even Madara's massive Susanoo platoon could be deleted by it, and he casually summoned the Tengai Shinsei earlier with almost no effort. Other Kage, such as Tsunade, also possess the ability to hit harder than the Raikage, and heal others as they get attacked by Madara.
I mean, yeah, she punches through that Susanoo, doesn't she? She's like so cool. Like they try really hard and do some stuff.
With Gaara able to block many of Madara's attacks and Mei able to fight alongside them, albeit probably the least useful one. She possesses AoE Acid Mist Jutsu and can even cast Kekkei Genkai such as lava onto people. Inoki and A can then further amp each other's speed by having A turn lighter to the point a character named Mu, who is being possessed by Kabuto, just sees him blink out of existence. They even seem to slam Madara, although Madara isn't going all out. Mu and Kabuto should be observing him in full. All in all, it's a very powerful squad, with them being able to reach light speed at their tops, and a bit beyond that with Inoki's assistance, and going from anywhere from fighting guys that can blow up mountains, possibly threatening entire continents. So, can Sukuna even deal with that? Is he even worth Madara's time to begin with?
Ooh, I like that. Okay, so this is the approach. That's cool. Okay, because Madara is so much stronger than them.
If he can't deal with the squad that got victimized by him in one of his most suppressed iterations we've ever seen.
It's like, hey, so do you want my clones to use Susanoo as well, or shall I just not? It's your choice. It's like, yo!
This is actually a pretty important discussion to have.
Born an unwanted and detested child into an era of the most vicious sorcerers, Ryomen Sukuna rose to prominence and became the most powerful Jujutsu sorcerer to have ever lived. No longer even being perceived by those around him as human, and more akin to a natural disaster. He tore through the entire Golden Age, which was known to be where Jujutsu was at its peak, a time when the entire power system of Jujutsu Kaisen was revolutionized. And this guy didn't just climb to the top, he single-handedly body-slammed the entire era. Fighters such as Oda, who was capable of boxing with Yuta Akatsu, a modern-day special-grade sorcerer, tried jumping the King of Curses with an entire clan of sorcerers, and lost so badly, she's left shaking just sensing his presence. Well,
She
while
so
in a
wants
state,
that vengeance,
Sukuna was capable of absolutely obliterating the special-grade disaster curse Jogo, whose maximum meteor could turn an entire town in all 4 directions into ash and dust. With Sukuna
still not continental, is it though? But okay.
Mocking Jogo for not bringing out an even stronger technique in the form of domain expansion. When Sukuna eventually recovers most of the rest of his power and is able to go toe-to-toe with Satoru Gojo, someone so powerful his birth made everyone around him stronger, with the 6 eyes and the limitless curse technique, he was considered to be the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer of the modern era. Modern era sorcerers include people like the previously mentioned Yuta Akatsu, who is ranked special grade. Special grade sorcerers,
there's only 4.
At minimum, are capable of single-handedly beating entire nations by themselves.
Yep.
Considering nations are often armed with nuclear weapons, you could argue special grades scale to this. Rip Hunter x Hunter. Another special grade sorcerer is Yuki Tsukumo, who, during her fight with one of the main antagonists of the Culling Games, Kenjaku, was capable of turning herself into a literal black hole after
This black hole thing is used so often.
Manipulating the concept of mass itself, in which it stated that if Yuki hadn't suppressed its range, she would have destroyed the entire planet. This ability, surprisingly enough, shouldn't even be her strongest technique and is probably weaker than her domain expansion, which is universally known to be the ultimate technique a sorcerer can perform. Domains, by the way, are extremely powerful. And not just in the sense of damn.
Yeah, like they're the thing. They are the thing that everyone uses.
This hits real hard. I mean,
it slams.
An ability that gives JJK insane cross-verse power and can make fights that were previously unwinnable into absolute beatdowns. A domain expansion is an area constructed from your cursed energy and your mental landscape. It's a separate space that traps your opponent inside, and as long as they are inside, any and all attacks are guaranteed to hit.
Yeah, there's the sure hit effect, isn't it, that comes with it?
Known in Jujutsu Kaisen's universe as the sure hit effect.
There you go.
So powerful is this that the attack literally hits you before it even exists in reality. To kind of give an example of what this would feel like, imagine being in a boxing ring and getting rocked by a punch before the guy's fist even moves.
He's even thrown.
The damage is essentially coming before the attack, which, if you really wanted to glaze JJK, you could interpret as some basic levels of manipulating causality itself, like some overpowered trap card in Yu-Gi-Oh!, with the only methods of escaping being to overpower it with your own domain expansion, or to have no cursed energy and escape. But in this case, there is no escape, as Sukuna has no restriction based on you having cursed energy, and can target literally anything he wishes.
Is that right, though? Because... No, actually, okay, yeah. What I'm thinking of is not an argument. I was thinking of recent chapter, but he's not within his domain. So, yeah, it's fine.
With attacks that hit you before they even exist.
I'm thinking of Maki attacking him with the sword. Spoilers, but yeah, he's not within his domain. So, yeah, sorry, yeah, whatever.
Exist that can possibly chart through all of existence itself. And all of this is inferior to Satoru Gojo by far, with Gojo being stated to be the strongest modern sorcerer to date, with Kenjaku feeling scared for his life just by being in Gojo's general vicinity, without Sukuna holding his hand. Literally, right after he survived a point-blank black hole to the face that could potentially nuke the entire planet from existence.
Crazy.
In the Season 1 TV animation guide for JJK's anime, which is the primary canon, it's stated that in the manga, Gojo's domain created a universe in which the Season 1 director, Sung-Hoo Park, thought wasn't actually enough and wanted an even more godly depiction for Gojo, altering the appearance of his domain. More godly than showing this guy possibly generating an entire universe? That's quite the insane statement. Sukuna not only goes on to defeat Satoru Gojo, but Gojo then himself even admits immense inferiority, saying that he was glad he could die to someone stronger than himself, as if Sukuna was so strong that it fulfilled Gojo's entire life purpose.
Combine this with the volume summary stating that if Sukuna recovered his entire body, he could destroy the entire world as...
Okay, okay. This does kind of change scaling a little bit, but okay.
we know it, then you could safely say that Sukuna could destroy the planet or has the attack power to do so.
Right, and then that's a bit... Because... because in my understanding of scaling, and this is me, non-power scaler, just from what I watch, Naruto characters don't have the potential to be planetary. Oh no, wait, no, maybe Naruto at the end. So potentially, I'm thinking Madara is like meteor thing. No. Okay, see how this goes.
Some try to be skeptical when it comes to Akutami's usage of world as we know it and suggest that it could potentially just be referring to society and not the actual world.
Yeah, okay, that's also something I was thinking as well. But I don't want to be too discussion-y on this. But yeah, change the world as we know it doesn't necessarily mean destroy it.
And that's a valid skepticism to have. It's more probably here, though, that Akutami actually just means the planet. Numerous times in JJK, characters will talk about world-ending threats with the appropriate level of damage. For instance, Tengen was a threat to society, as if they evolved, there was a fear they would merge with all of humanity, hence Kenjaku's master plan during the arc. But with Yuki's black hole, Kenjaku knows that the world would be destroyed, in reference to the physical planet. The statement on the volumes also uses the same wording that Kenjaku did for Yuki's planetary attack. So this statement is probably a similar level of validity as the Nine Tails in Naruto Databook 3 being able to turn the world to ash, which many Naruto fans will use for a planetary Nine Tails. This is also later confirmed in further databooks, such as Databook 4, where KCM2 Naruto's Bijou Bombs are planetary, and there's even further evidence in Boruto Shonen magazine guides, and so forth.
As for speed, Sukuna being able to keep up with and dodge the attacks of the strongest sorcerer from the Edo period, Hajime Kashimo. In his curse technique, he can shoot out electromagnetic waves and can alter the frequency of his own body to create whatever phenomenon his curse energy allows. Electromagnetic waves are generally considered to be fields that move at almost the speed of light, sometimes about half as fast, sometimes around 99% as fast, and in a vacuum are just as fast. With them moving in the atmosphere at just 99% the speed. Due to this, heavily fatigued, nerfed Sukuna dodges this at point blank to the point that it's calculated to move anywhere from 1.1 times to 5 times as.
But then, what video did I watch where it's debatable on whether this is a debatable speed feat. He might have seen that the attack was coming and moved before the attack was thrown out. I'm sure maybe this was a 6 mentioned this. Because of the way the panels work within this chapter, he potentially moved before the attack was thrown out. So there is a difference between the two things. It's like, if the attack was thrown out and then he moved, yeah, that's a freaking fast feat. But he could have potentially seen that it was coming beforehand and moved before it was fired out. But
speed of light, even downplaying. This is also supported and made further consistent by Kenjaku, another powerful sorcerer that is far inferior to Sukuna and even Gojo, who Sukuna can apparently bully at full power, being able to pull away from Yuki's black hole. To be able to do this means Kenjaku is at least traveling faster than light, since to escape a black hole's Schwartz radius, you need to be at least faster
radius. This is interesting.
than light. And
we're learning science.
Just for a bit of monkey brain scaling, you can kind of see the light being sucked into Yuki as Kenjaku pulls away. You could point to this somehow being inconsistent because other high tiers are only Mach in speeds, but that's not actually true. Maki was blitzing Mach 3 Naoya after grasping freedom, and no one else but Gojo, Sukuna, and Kenjaku really scaled to this light speed level of speed, the 3 heavy hitters of JJK. Not only that, but Kage, the author themselves, actually makes fun of this concept, where a fan asks, "You went from infinite to Mach, are you okay?" And Kage responds with, "To all of you thinking that, I agree with you." And they just agree that it was pretty stupid, and makes up for it in the following chapters.
In the
but it's stated.
past, as a final note, many of you are probably aware that I made a video called Kakashi vs. Gojo, in which I said I would probably go with War Art Kakashi or Dual Mangekyo Sharingan Kakashi being above Gojo in terms of power. Even the author of JJK themselves at the time thought Gojo wasn't on the level of Kakashi. The reason that doesn't matter for this video is, for one, and most obviously, Sukuna in his true form is just stronger than Gojo. Not only does he beat him in a fight while suppressed and nerfed, but when Gojo, massive spoilers, loses, he just gives him the craziest meat riding session of all time.
Yeah, he's like, I lost against someone that was better than me.
About how Sukuna was holding back and just having fun with him, basically. Gojo even uses Black Flash during this fight that amplifies his powers by the power of 2.5 times, which is
crazy when you think about how strong everyone makes out Gojo to be.
like a Dragon Ball Potara Fusion level punch. I'm not joking. And Sukuna still wins the fight without doing anything like that, and is nerfed. But secondly, Kage could be referring to many forms of Kakashi, such as DMS Kakashi that could kind of overpower and bully a time-space buster like
yeah, but he's got Limitless, so how would he possibly get him?
Kaguya in brief scuffles, and could also be referring to Boruto Kakashi, who has much more chakra than he did in original Naruto, and even strong fighters like Kashin Koji. Loki thought that Kakashi was just too much trouble and couldn't just blitz and one-shot him and then get away or something.
Without the Sharingan.
He'd then go on to fight Jigen and Ishiki, who obliterated Naruto and Sasuke in their six-path states and as adults. And while not one-to-one, it's clear Kakashi is sort of a vague term, and we don't know exactly what they mean by this. It also could be a bit outdated, as the author might have realized they want the verse to be stronger than they originally intended, and this is implied by them going from Mach 3 being jerked
the speed thing
off to black holes being launched after fans complained in like a few chapters after. So how would the fight go? For starters, it's pretty apparent that Kashimo and his mythic Amber Phantom Beast Curse technique state is just a better 4th Raikage. Faster, probably stronger than Kenjaku, and Sukuna just weaves a web at him that can apparently cut through him either an infinite distance at faster than light speeds, or just chops through time-space like Kamui in a massive undodgeable range. Meaning it's pretty clear Sukuna is just going to, and I'm not joking, make a giant Kamui fly swatter and kill all the 5 Kage in one attack, and they can't do anything to stop it. Even if you somehow argue that the Raikage is too fast and might be able to dodge it somehow, Sukuna has a domain expansion that basically makes speed completely irrelevant.
Damn, okay, cool. A way to get around the speed feat. Thank you.
As his attacks then hit you before they even exist, instantly, no matter where you are in his range. They sort of just spawn on your coordinates, which is implied in the jump math lecture. And unlike most domains as well, Sukuna doesn't require a barrier to do this. He doesn't have to trap his enemies in an area, nor does it require his opponents to have cursed energy, even if you weren't equalizing the energies of the verses.
Which is crazy, that's crazy.
It's a unique trait that he actually possesses. And Sukuna, while suppressed, then even survives multiple hollow purples, even one at 200%, and it just singes his body rather than annihilating the area it touches. These hollow purples may be the attack that is stronger than Yuki's mass-manipulating black holes that can even destroy the planet. We also know, based on Gege's remarks and the remarks of Miguel and JJK, that purple seems to crush space like a Kamui from Kakashi and attacks time-space itself to a degree, turning whatever it touches into a negative and imaginary mathematical value. Not only this, but if the Kage have no surefire way of putting him down even in one attack, he's gonna regenerate like Majin Buu from Dragon Ball, even if his brain gets obliterated.
That was a mad one, yeah.
And then adapt to any move on a truly infinite scale, not even exaggerating, and become completely immune to any attack or almost concept like he did against the true infinite point sphere from Yorozu with 0 difficulty. Even things as simple as adapting to the concept of cut are on the table here. The Kage will be hard-pressed to even survive if Sukuna just doesn't toy with them. Their best bet is maybe sealing him, but based on his probable power scaling, this is unlikely. That being said, Sukuna versus Madara is a much better fight, so let's get into it.
Oh man, I can't believe we're watching a Madara versus Sukuna video, and we've gone 17 minutes to actually get into the Madara versus Sukuna, but that's cool. I like the setup, I like the discussion. It's an interesting discussion. It sets up the scaling and how fast everyone is.
Like Sukuna, the Ninetales has similar world-ending statements and helps Naruto take down guys who can nuke those time spaces I mentioned earlier that have at least a planet and a moon inside, and possibly even stars. The Ninetales is the main force behind the multi-continental calced Bijou bombs during the war arc, and can even help Naruto contend against Obito, who is that possible planet-level god tree calc I mentioned earlier. Madara, in terms of speed, can contend and easily react to Naruto when he's using Kurama's chakra, when he's going all out, easily blocking one of his clones and reflecting its mini Bijou bomb with Uchiha Reflection, and QB Naruto was able to perform a similar feat as Sukuna reacting to Kashimo, but arguably a bit better with certain interpretations. as he blitzes around the Raikage, not only using a light speed attack that is considered his max speed, but a full power version 2 Lightning Cloak version of the Raikage that may rival Minato from back in his Jonin days if you look at the data books. Not the current Hokage version, but at least the Jonin version, who could react to Unruly A in the past at point blank and teleport away. These calcs for Naruto blitzing around full speed Raikage are anywhere from a few times up to 72 times, depending on who you actually ask. It is heavily debated about, so do be careful when you talk about that.
Yeah, because there's the there's the pixel calc, you know? Oh, God.
But it's safe to say it's bare minima at least similar to Sukuna dodging Kashimo, with the Sukuna feat being arguably actually downplayed due to the distance he actually dodges, more than likely being much further, but a bit unquantifiable due to the limitations of the manga and the way the author tends to draw it. We're gonna have to probably wait for the anime to really get a full gauge of this.
Mate, I can't wait for Season 3. It's gonna be so fucking awesome.
In this instance, though, Madara is just fighting a much faster and stronger Naruto, so those higher interpretations of those earlier calcs are easy to digest. So in all honesty, Madara should be faster than Sukuna, unless you think Gojo moving into Prison Realm, which has no time, is actually a speed feat which would give him inaccessible speed or a level of infinite speed, which Kage themselves may have actually implied. You have to remember all of Gojo's attacks are manipulating time and space, and he is a rival, if not superior, to full power Kashimo,
speed feats,
who shoots light speed attacks casually, if not far surpassing them with his other moves. If this is the case, Sukuna just blitzes Madara and chops him in half, makes him the next waffled one with his beyond infinite scale time-space ignoring fly swatter. In terms of scaling as well, the black hole move that Yuki made is actually above planet level, with calculations for this black hole actually reaching a level in the 10 to the 35 joules range, which, for those that don't understand, is actually enough to destroy massive planets and almost dwarf stars, let alone just the Earth, like the Ninetales is, honestly wanking with just vague databook claims. With Madara only reaching this tier, if you really stretch his scaling to Kaguya, who may be able to nuke sort of a solar system-sized realm, or if you think they're scratching out universes as some metas will imply, as there are some metas that think Kaguya's dimensions are actually universes in size, which is sort of implied and supported by the video games, but I personally don't really tend to go with that, but it is something people debate about. Even if Madara was somehow vaguely faster, Sukuna once again has a sure hit fire domain expansion that will hit Madara with attacks before they even exist while he can survive, regenerate, and adapt infinitely to almost any attack Madara can realistically launch.
Interesting.
The only things that really threaten him are Genjutsu and the infinite Tsukuyomi. However, one issue is that Sukuna may possibly be able to transfer mind hacks or a Genjutsu to his host body.
Yeah, like it could just, just let Megami take the pain.
Such as when Gojo launches Infinite Void, and he transfers just all the damage and information to Megami instead. Infinite Void being a series of infinite sets of infinite information of everything inside of reality being shoved and flashbanged into your brain.
Yeah, because it's like, it's matter in it, so it's not like, it's not like having Naruto with Kurama or anything inside. Which, something I mentioned as well, is like, can you switch? It's like,
However, the infinite Tsukuyomi is also pretty impressive, as it's the expanded version of the Tsukuyomi, which too can manipulate the time, space, and all things beyond light speed within your psyche until you live out your entire life in an instant and die, but stretch to everyone on the planet. So it's debatable.
So yeah, like throw that on one person.
Sukuna actually has resistance to something of that level, but that gets into Ten Tails Madara territory. We're still talking about normal Madara. Normal Madara doesn't possess that, and in all honesty, struggles to find a win condition. While Sukuna infinitely adapts and hits Madara no matter where he is at all times around him, if his space-time ignoring infinite range cleave even has a speed that Madara can react to begin with, so not only does Sukuna have the tools to hit Madara, he has the tools to damage and one-shot Madara, and he has the tools to survive and adapt to attacks from Madara. All in all, it's probably a Sukuna win. But if Madara does absorb the Ten Tails, then he gets other options such as aforementioned Infinite Tsukuyomi, and more scaling to Kaguya and her possible solar system level through universal attack potency, depending on you ask. Some people will just say that she's large planetary from doing that. Making him stronger with a lot of time hacks, immortality that can survive Sukuna chopping him with domain, and a plethora of ceiling jutsu that he would outscale Sukuna with and should be able to axe him off with. He also has truth-seeking orbs, which could potentially erase
they are bad boys. They are bad boys, those truth-seeking orbs.
Sukuna from existence entirely, including your soul. And if you're not giving Sukuna that infinite speed, Madara at this point is just getting multiple times faster and just getting buffed over and over again, and the speed gap only increases between them. Sukuna, unlike most characters, can actually regenerate his soul, though, as stated as a counter to Mahito, who could manipulate and destroy souls.
Yeah.
So Madara would have to absolutely obliterate Sukuna in one swipe with his truth-seeking orbs, or turbo genjutsu him and seal him before Sukuna adapts infinitely with Mahoraga, and just eventually wins with his sure hit attack spam and infinite range net attacks that would erase Madara from existence, that are even more efficient at damage than probably Kamui, that can rip Kage into pieces, who's even stronger than Madara. There are some universal arguments for JJK as well. It's not one side with only Naruto, especially with that Gojo and creating an infinite point sphere gang, as well as Sukuna possibly, and a lot of people will even say this, making a universal sized or ranged cleave attack that can't be avoided depending on how you interpret it's described.
Adding on to Mahoraga, I really want you guys to understand just how much of a monster this thing is.
Oh no, I understand that Mahoraga is just ridiculous, and I love it.
The Zenin clan has been around since the golden age of Jujutsu. For 1,000 years, not a single person in their entire clan,
done it.
the hundreds, probably thousands of sorcerers that have come and gone, have never once been able to tame him.
Yeah, so huge deal.
To defeat him in a fight. For a comparison, you could look at Mahoraga through the same lens as the Nine Tails, with it just being this unstoppable force that required basically the absolute strongest to contest. Mahoraga is such an absolute menace that even Gojo recognized that it had the potential to kill him, with examples of previous Six Eyes and Limitless users being killed by Mahoraga. And in the battle against Gojo, we see Sukuna use the full capabilities of Mahoraga to completely adapt to almost all of Gojo's powers, which are literally manipulating space and time to an infinite degree, rendering him unable to do anything outside of a super risky attack. Even when a girl makes a ball with infinite pressure and points on it, he just punches through it while hardly looking and smashes it in one punch, just kind of taps it. Even if you wanted to say that someone was strong enough to insta-kill Mahoraga, since it is definitely weaker than Sukuna, surprisingly enough, we've actually seen Sukuna be able to be taking on the properties of Mahoraga in exchange for him taking the attacks instead of Mahoraga. He's able to take on the resulting adaptation, and what makes it even more absurd is that even if Mahoraga dies, his power and abilities will just flow down to the rest of the 10 shadows, essentially meaning that you'd have to beat Mahoraga 10 times, with each time getting
Never thought about that. Yeah.
Continuously stronger and continuously and infinitely adapting to your attacks on some Superman vs. Doomsday type of battle.
Damn, that's something.
Note that Sukuna's being is a soul attached to a vessel, which is basically the same thing as an Edo Tensei. Funnily enough, the Edo Tenseis are completely immune to the infinite Tsukuyomi, so if you consider Sukuna a similar undead to the Edo Tenseis, you're probably able to say that he would resist Madara's infinite Tsukuyomi as well. So, at that point, Madara's physical attacks can work and his mind hacks is pointless, the only win condition he has left is the truth-seeking orb. The reason you could say this is Sukuna became a cursed object after his death, and didn't fully incarnate into anyone until after he killed Satoru Gojo, meaning he's not actually a living creature until he fully incarnates. Additionally, Sukuna being a human is left generally vague, and while I agree that he is a human myself, it's fair to say that he's actually a curse and may just be unaffected by the Tsukuyomi due to that alone. However, this is extremely contentious. Obviously, the infinite Tsukuyomi is a planet-conquering genjutsu used to sap and control life on a planet, to form chakra fruits, to evolve Kage's clan. Due to this, it doesn't target Edo Tensei due to them being souls possessing a dead vessel. So you could argue that Megami Sukuna is a bit different and could be targeted. It should also be noted that if for whatever reason Infinite Tsukuyomi didn't work, normal ocular genjutsu works on Edo Tenseis as well. but it really does get into the contentious territory, and also gets even into territory like, would Madara even launch the infinite Tsukuyomi against one guy?
Yeah, like one person, that's not the intention whatsoever, is it?
It's kind of goofy, but not impossible. What do you guys think about it?
While I'll try to leave my opinion as ambiguous as possible,
I definitely went into this thinking Madara, yeah, but then some decent arguments have been made here. Even speed feats.
as my new method for making these types of videos is be more educational than opinionated, I will leave you guys with this as my opinion. If you lowball Sukuna and JJK, you will have to put him up against the 5 Kage, and it may be a hard argument to win. If you midball him, you're going to have to fight him against Madara versus the War Arc before the 10 Tails, and Madara is probably beating his ass. And if you highball him, then it's a pitch debate against 10 Tails Madara, and it can really go either way depending on who's arguing for it. But that's just my opinion. It really depends. Do you take those Kashimo Lightspeed things so seriously? Do you take the prison box having no time so seriously? Do you take the black hole as so seriously? Some people will try to argue it doesn't function completely like a black hole. Same thing people used to say when Goku and Base during the Tournament of Power was fighting a heart-shaped black hole. And they would say, it can't be a black hole, it's in the shape of a heart, right? So it depends. How much intent do you think is being used? And what do you apply to these characters? Do you think that Sukuna's strongest attack can cut a universal distance, or has an infinite range, has instant speed? What do you apply to these characters? And that's really important. But other than that, that's all there is to say. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Until next time.
Wow, okay. Very well done. The editing was good on that as well. I like that. That was an interesting discussion. And, ooh. So, yeah. Good discussion. Good comparisons, good scaling, good examples being brought up, and speed feats. I won't do this every time. I just thought it was funny because of the amount of the stuff I went on the last video, the amount of comments I got. But yeah, interesting one. Madara, Sukuna. There's a lot of variables in there as well, isn't there? So that was cool. Fun. So we're nearly through my list of videos. There's one left. So it's Kenpachi versus Jujutsu Kaisen. So that'll help me see where Bleach ties in with all this stuff. But yeah, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video and want to watch patron exclusive reactions, like I said, I'm currently watching Solo Leveling every week at the moment, and I'll eventually start doing other things. I'm thinking of nope, I'll save it. But yeah, so yeah, if you want to have your name at the end of a video and watch Patreon-only reactions, links in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all I ask for channels. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for that. And thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. See you guys, near dear.